respected faith leaders, activists, friends at the HIV Interfaith Conference. Greetings. My name is Winnie Byanyima. I lead the United Nations work to fight HIV/AIDS. Thank you, Archbishop Zoria, Sheikh Abu Hamza, and Rabbi Vysotsky for the opening prayers. Prayers are an important source of strength for many of us, especially at this time of crisis. We've been hit by COVID. The impact is devastating. So many lives lost, economies crushed, jobs taken away, women and girls suffering violence, more violence in homes, and we are seeing all our progress against HIV/AIDS now threatened as we see services for prevention, for testing, for treatment being interrupted as countries struggle to fight yet another pandemic. But we mustn't lose hope. Your conference is well named. You've named it Resilience and Renewal. Yes, resilience is what we need now. We're called upon to be resilient, and renewal is about hope and not giving up and fighting the two pandemics at the same time. So let me share 3 things that we have learned from 40 years of fighting the HIV epidemic. 1, global solidarity. We've achieved what we've achieved by coming together. The whole world coming together, the United Nations forming this joint program we call UNAIDS to fight a global pandemic. We must do the same for COVID. Yet, what do we see today? We see countries, political leaders looking inward and trying to find national solutions instead of fighting together. There is a race to find a vaccine today. And we are seeing rich countries booking out potential doses for themselves. As we speak now, there are 5 candidate vaccines that could soon give us a vaccine against COVID. Yet, a few rich countries have booked out the 5 vaccines and left developing countries with very little. I urge you, religious leaders, you know more than anybody else. Your religions cut across countries and regions. Use your moral voice and join a coalition that is growing, demanding for a people's vaccine. That any vaccine that's produced is a global public good. Come behind the WHO's CTAP. Costa Rica and a number of countries have proposed a mechanism, a shared pool, where all the technology is shared and where different regions are enabled, facilitated to produce, to manufacture, and to distribute the vaccine so that everybody is reached at the same time. There is a distribution mechanism WHO is proposing where health workers, people who are older than 60 years, people with chronic illnesses, and other vulnerable people, that is about 20% of the population in each country, are vaccinated first across the world, and then other people later. It doesn't make sense, and it is unjust that people in rich countries, 13% of the global population, all get vaccinated as health workers and sick people in other countries wait in the queue for another 4 or 5 years. So join the people's vaccine call and use your moral voice to demand that any vaccine that's produced today against COVID is shared as a global public good. Second, we learned from fighting HIV that a pandemic is not just a disease. It is many things. It is social, it's political, it needs economics, it needs a whole of government, a whole of society approach. And you, leaders of faith, joined governments, the private sector, civil society, to work together to fight the epidemic. We need a multisectoral approach to fight COVID. Again, I urge you to do what you have done before. Lead, bring your leadership into multisectoral approaches to fight COVID. Use your services where you don't judge, where you offer services because you believe in humanity, in the humanity of every person. Bring that approach into COVID, because the third lesson we've learned is that human rights must be at the center of fighting an epidemic to succeed. Bring your approach of being non-judgmental, of fighting stigma and discrimination, of valuing every human being. We need human rights at the center. Today, we are seeing again that the people, the very groups of people who were denied services because they were on the margins of society, are today also the victims under COVID. Gay men, young women who are abused in communities or even in their households. We're seeing sex workers being discriminated because of they are being judged morally, yet in fact they are human beings with a right to health too. Migrants, prisoners, the people whom society puts on the margins are still the ones not getting services and being discriminated under COVID. Bring them in. Use your voice, your services to serve all people and to put their human rights at the center. I thank you so much for organizing this important meeting. I wish you success in this discussion, and UNAIDS will be standing with you and fighting with you the two epidemics, HIV and COVID-19. Thank you so much.